How are you? Kumusta kayo po, mga kaibigan, kapatid at kapatid at saka mga kababayan ko po sa iba-ibang parte ng mundo at saka ang mga Filipinos dito din po sa Malaysia. And of course, lahat tayo po dyan mga Filipinos, kababayan, kapatid at kaibigan natin sa Pilipinas. Kumusta kayo? Hope everything is running smoothly on a Saturday morning po. Today is July 4th. July 4th na tayo. And I hope nag-start na naman tayo ng weekend. I hope that this weekend will be a very prosperous, problem-free weekend sa ating lahat po. Be it in the Philippines, be it dito po sa Malaysia, be it sa iba-ibang parte ng mundo po, no? Especially ang mga Filipino communities natin, no? Natin po. So today also, I would like to greet happy birthday. Happy birthday. Umpisa tayo sa greetings ng happy birthday sa mga loved ones natin, sa mga kaibigan natin, sa mga close friends natin po. Close friends ng Filipinas. And this dedication goes to all Americans. Sa United States of America, I would like to say happy birthday, happy Independence Day sa inyong lahat po. To America, Happy Independence Day because today po, ang America is celebrating ang Independence Day nila po July 4th. Now, July 4th, they gained their Independence Day way back in July 4, 1776. 1776. And of course, expected po na mayroon silang mga programs today dyan po sa sa Amerika. Hindi siguro today, bukas po kasi tayo, no? Delay tayo. So they will be celebrating later on, no? Later on ang Independence Day nila. Pero sa atin, since we are already July 4, so we would like to extend our Independence Day or happy birthday to America. To America because today is July 4. To all those celebrating ang birthday nila ngayon po, I would like also to say happy birthday to all of you. And those who are celebrating whatever celebrations you are celebrating today, no? Be it birthday, be it wedding anniversaries, death anniversaries, or anniversaries, monthly anniversaries ng mga lovers natin, hindi lang po sa Pilipinas, but dito din po sa Malaysia and sa iba-ibang parte ng mundo. Hope that this day, this celebration that you are celebrating today po, will be prosperous, memorable, and of course, problem-free celebration. Alright, si Nico Fabian would like again to invite each and every one of you dito po sa programa natin Nick Talk, The Real Talk with Nico, dahil mayroon tayong mga latest updates that I want to share with you po, mga news galing sa Pilipinas, latest updates. And itong program, as what I said earlier, and I keep on repeating, that this program Nick Talk, The Real Talk with Nico, design ito po, firstly, sa mga Filipinos dito po sa Malaysia. Be it sa West Malaysia o dito tayo sa East Malaysia, may dalawang state tayo sa East Malaysia, and that is Sabah and Sarawak. Nandito tayo based sa Sabah, particularly the only city in Sabah, which we call Kota Kinabalu City po. So, welcome kayo dito sa programa natin Nick Talk, The Real Talk with Nico. And dito lang po, you will be able to get ang mga, hindi naman siguro lahat, but mga important news, updates regarding what is happening sa Pilipinas. Not only for the Filipino communities here, and in general in Malaysia, but also for our Malaysian friends po, because we have a lot of friends, mixed marriage na tayo. And we have Malaysians, Sabahans, no? They're doing business also dyan po sa Pilipinas. Dyan po sa Pilipinas. And I'm sure they will really appreciate if ang Nick Talk, Real Talk with Nico will continue to give mga news what is happening in the Philippines po. In the Philippines. So welcome kayo dito. And umpisa na tayo po sa programa natin Nick Talk, The Real Talk with Nico. Okay, bago sa lahat po, first thing first po is for the past, or I think last week we experienced downpour dito sa Kota Kinabalu. And of course, some parts in Sabah. And of course, na rinig natin ang mga news about the flash flood in the Philippines po, no? Last week and also this week, no? So, before anything else, I would like to give you updates regarding ang weather condition dyan po sa Pilipinas, because if there is sabihin tayo typhoon sa Pilipinas, definitely po, whether we like it or not, we also feel siguro ang tail ng typhoon na sa Pilipinas po, kami dito sa Sabah. We also feel, no? Hindi masyadong malakas, but we experience, no? We experience downpour, no? Downpour po, no? Sometimes it is a heavy downpour, sometimes hindi naman masyadong heavy, but there are some instances where in some areas dito po sa Kota Kinabalu po, because of the downpour, some areas are being flooded, no? Flooded po. So remember, Sabah is the land below the wind. Wala tayong experience, hindi tayo nag-experience talaga grabe flash flood or typhoon dito sa Sabah, except for isolated incidents of flash flood, no? Dito sa Sabah way back a few years ago, no? Like Kiningaw, we also suffered ang heavy downpour and damages because of the flash flood po. But isolated lang yan po, no? Isolated. And normal lang yan po if we also have some flash flood problems dito sa area namin sa Kota Kinabalu, no? Or sa Sabah. But anyway, let me share with you ang latest updates tungkol sa weather conditions sa Pilipinas for next week. For next week. Remember, next week is a week, especially on Monday, July 6, no? A lot of Filipinos, not only in the Philippines, but also kami dito po sa Malaysia or dito sa Sabah, we are really excited, eager to meet July 6. July 6 po, because it will be the start of the impeachment trial of Vice President Inday Sara Duterte dyan po sa Pilipinas. Sa Pilipinas. So, yun po. Officially, they will start ang hearing, impeachment hearing of Inday Sara Duterte sa Monday at 2 p.m. At 2 p.m. And from Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday po, hanggang before the SONA of President Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos. Ano ba itong SONA? SONA means State of the Nation Address. He does that every year, no? To report to the Filipinos po what he has done the year that was. No? So after the SONA that will be scheduled on July 27 this month, now the schedule of the impeachment hearing of Inday Sara Duterte will change. Ngayon po, before the SONA, it will be Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, starting at 2 p.m. But after the SONA, it will be, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. 2 p.m. din yun po. No? 2 p.m. But anyway, I'll give you more details po. In the event, mayroon mga changes, and make sure that tayo dito po sa Pilipinas, and of course, ang mga overseas Filipino workers natin sa iba-ibang parte ng mundo who is regularly monitoring itong programa ko po, Nick Talk, the Real Talk with Nico, you will be properly informed po. And if you want to be updated about the impeachment trial or hearing of Inday Sara Duterte, tune din lang kayo po dito sa programa ko po. You can find me dito sa Facebook, sa YouTube, and sa TikTok. TikTok po. So, okay, punta na tayo sa weather condition sa Pilipinas po for next week. Nandito po, let's watch and listen to this weather report, video clip that I have prepared para sa ating lahat this morning. This morning po. Let's watch and listen to this. Hold on. Alright, nandito na. Let's watch and listen to this weather report galing sa Pilipinas. Hold on.
Si Super Typhoon. Mga kapatid, Cheryl Cosing po, narito ang update ukol sa ating magiging panahon. Magandang balita dahil nga ang Bagyong Henry ay nasa labas na ng Philippine Area of Responsibility, hindi na yan magdudulot ng pag-ulan sa atin. Pero kailangan po nating maganda sa susunod na linggo dahil inaasahang papasok sa loob ng Philippine Area of Responsibility ang isang super typhoon. Ito po ay parang si Karina, kung naalala nyo, ang super typhoon na Karina na nadulot ng grabing pagbaha po dito sa ating bansa noong 2024. Si super typhoon Karina, hindi yan nag-landfall, pero nagdulot nga ng sobrang lakas na pag-enhance nito sa ating hanging habagat. Kaya naging grabe yung mga bahang naranasan natin dito sa Metro Manila. Nasa mahigit 6 na milyon ang naapektuhang mga kababayan natin. Ngayon, ito daw super typhoon na papasok next week dito ay posibleng katulad ng Bagyong Karina. So para i-explain sa atin yan, kasama natin ngayon ang ating weather specialist, resident weather specialist na si Alvin Pura. Okay, Alvin, napakalayo pa nitong super typhoon na ito at wala pa actually siya sa super typhoon category. Ano? Sige nga, pakita natin sa ating mga kapatid, nasaan na ba ito? Ito yung ating bansa.
Malayong bahagi ng Dagat Pasipiko nandito. Yung ating tropical storm.
Ito
Tropical
yung
storm na siya.
circulation na ito.
Tropical storm na siya at may international name na Bobby. So,
Kung titignan nyo mga kapatid, ang layo pa eh. Diba? Asan yung Philippine Area of Responsibility? Itong guhit na to.
yes,
So,
yes.
napakalayo pa po niya talaga. Pero, okay, yung kanyang track, paano ba, Alvin?
Since nabanggit yung napakalayo, Ma'am Sherry, isa yan sa factor na nakikita natin na pag-last to, since napakalayo, ang tagal din ng oras na makakabuelo po yan at makakaipon ng lakas mula dito sa Dagat Pasipiko. Conducive, pabor sa paglakas ng bagyo, yung ating conditions ngayon, mainit ang sea surface temperature, mahina yung vertical wind shear, kaya inaasahan natin na posible pa nga itong magkaroon ng tinatawag nating rapid intensification. So, bago pa man yan dumikit, or habang nandiyan po sa may area ng Guam, nakikita na natin yan ng paglakas hanggang sa strong typhoon o malakas na typhoon, or possible pa po. Hindi natin knowledge yung possibility na umabot yan sa super typhoon category bago pa man dumikit sa ating area of responsibility. Itong tropical storm Bobby.
Okay, so kailan tayo mararamdaman or lalapit ito? Sabi mo nga, papasok yan ng loob ng Philippine Area of Responsibility by when next week?
So nakikita natin na yung 30 kilos generally west, northwestward, so bahagyang
West,
kaliwa.
northwest, pag gano'n.
Kahon. By Monday, nandito na po yan sa may area na po. Directly nakaka-apekto na po yan dyan. So, nakikita natin dito sa ating track na possible po yan na by Tuesday is malapit na sa ating area of responsibility. So, late Tuesday hanggang early Wednesday natin nakikita yung posibleng pumasok sa ating area of responsibility. So, ngayon, meron yung international name na Bobby. If ever makapasok na ng ating area of responsibility, ito po ay magbibigyan natin ng local name na Inday. So, by that time, possible na nasa very strong typhoon o napakalakas na typhoon na po ito or possible din po na nasa super typhoon category na ito.
So, Alvin, kailan natin masisimulang maramdaman yung epekto nitong super typhoon?
So sa ngayon, Cheryl, hindi naman natin ito nakikita mag-landfall pero medyo malawak yung kanyang circulation. So, most probably, kahit pumakyat po yan, mararamdaman po ang epekto niya dito sa Northern Luzon at extreme Northern Luzon. Pero kung mapapansin mo, Cheryl, meron tayong inflow ng hangin dito, itong mga kulay purple at may kalakasan po yan. Ito na yung ating habagat o southwest monsoon na kung saan if ever makapasok na itong tawagin natin Bagyong Inday mula late Tuesday hanggang early Wednesday, start na natin maramdaman yung epekto niya dito sa western section ng Mindanao and then habang lumalapit pa itong Bagyong Inday, western section naman ng Visayas and then western section Luzon. Mostly western section ng ating bansa pero since napakalakas po ng hangin na yan o malakas yung hila ng ating habagat, nararamdaman po natin yan dito sa malaking bahagi ng ating bansa. Pero mostly yung concentration ng ating mga malalakas o mas maraming panulan is nasa kanlurang bahagi.
Well, mga kapatid, Huwebes pa lamang naman po. So patuloy namin kayong bibigyan ng update ukol sa kilos nitong possible na super typhoon na papasok po sa loob ng Philippine Area of Responsibility sa susunod na linggo. Thank you, Alvin.
Yes, yan.
Alright, yan pa ang latest updates natin na tungkol sa typhoon. Super typhoon ito po, no? Expected, na? Super typhoon to landfall dyan po sa Pilipinas, especially dyan po sa Luzon. And I will give you more details regarding itong Super Typhoon. Anong pangalan ng Super Typhoon? Local name for the Super Typhoon expected to arrive sa Pilipinas po, area of responsibility. Ang pangalan po ay Inday. Hindi ito si Inday Sara po, no? Coincident ba ito? Is it coincident that the Super Typhoon, no, is named after ang pangalan Inday po? Si Inday po, Inday Sara Duterte, is expected also to be hitting ang mga periodiko, ang mga headlines sa newspaper sa Pilipinas starting on Monday, no, July 6. Bakit po? Because it will start the impeachment trial of Inday Sara Duterte. Siya po ang Vice President ng Pilipinas po, no? Maingay na maingay itong storya. And remember, si Inday, it will remind us, Inday Sara Duterte, no, about ang advocacy niya, ang fight niya against corruption. Ang fight niya against how the Philippines is being run today, no, by the administration, Marcos administration. And she's not happy with how things are moving in the Philippines, particularly ang welfare and interest of every Filipino po, especially ang mga ordinaryong Filipino po dahil sa corruption po, no? Sa corruption. And let us not forget also ang flood control projects po dahil darating na din ang Super Typhoon, si Inday na naman po, and it will remind us about ghost projects, flood control ghost projects po, flood control substandard projects po, and corruption in the Philippines po. Let us just hope and pray, let us just hope and pray that this Super Typhoon, although we are expecting a series of typhoons to hit in the Philippines before the year ends po, because normally this is what we are experiencing po, no? Every year. So we just hope po that itong Super Typhoon will not result in many damages po, properties, no? And loss of lives, no? Loss of lives. Siguro lang po, no? Kung mayroon lang tayong mga bridges, ang mga flood control projects na gawa talaga po, no? Since 2022 hanggang last year or ongoing hanggang ngayon po, siguro ang fear natin about the arrival of super typhoons or typhoons in the Philippines po will not be great as how we fear now po, no? Dahil kulang po. The other day I showed you some a video clip wherein mga estudyante po, no, they cross the river since the vehicles, ang mga vehicle cannot cross the river po. What they did, ang mga tao doon po sa North Cotabato yata yon, what they did was to use buffaloes and horses po to ferry ang mga estudyante, young students po, no, to the other side of the river po. And it was very, very risky and dangerous po, no? And yun na nga, sigaw ng mga tao, kung natuloy lang yung mga proyekto ng flood control projects po by mga bridges dyan sa area nila po, siguro this will not happen or they will not experience such ferrying of students from one side of the river to the other side of the river using mga horses and buffaloes or carabao po, no? Carabao. So, yun po. Just imagine if it is a super typhoon, it means there is a threat. Kung super typhoon talaga ito, now we can expect damages po. Agricultural lands will be damaged. So the moment we experience this thing po, no, it means mahirapan na naman po ang mga Pilipinos in terms of food supply. And ang presyo po definitely will continue to rise po. That is a law of demand, supply and demand po, whether we like it or not. Alright? So, okay. Yun lang po. Reminder lang, those who are nasa riverbanks or sa lower areas po, please, sabi natin, I would like to remind all of you po, no? sa affected areas po, please listen to the advice of our local authorities po. If they say you have to evacuate, evacuate po for your own safety. For your own safety. And let's continue to pray that we will not experience heavy damages po as a result of this super typhoon Inday, expected to arrive sa Pilipinas po either Tuesday or Wednesday, early Wednesday po. Alright, so let's continue itong programa natin, and this time around po, I would like to give you some news na kunting respeto din tayo sa presidente natin, si President Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos Jr. I think today he will be leaving Canada. He will be leaving Canada and returning back to the Philippines po. Kasi from July 1st hanggang July 4, today po, no? Yun po ang official trip niya po sa Canada po. And one of the reasons why he attended that official invitation given to him by the Prime Minister of Canada, si Mark Carney, is to strengthen bilateral ties between the Philippines and Canada. Philippines and Canada po, which is very good. And at the same time, while in Canada, he will be having meetings with the business sector sa Canada, and of course, he will also be spending time with the Filipino communities dyan po sa Canada. The question is, when we talk about the Philippine community po, siguro hindi naman lahat. Now, it will be unfair if we will say that lahat po, no? But there are some groups in Canada, Filipinos in Canada po, they did not give red carpet welcome of President Bongbong Marcos po when he arrived dyan po sa Canada the other day. No? Instead, what they did is, nagprotest sila po. And they've been shouting, mahiya ka naman, shameful, and all these things po. No? When si BBM was there, dyan sa Canada po. And meron tayong ditong balita po, no? The Philippines and Canada have elevated bilateral relations to a strategic partnership to deepen collaboration across critical sectors, including defense and economy. President Marcos and Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney announced kahapon po. Kahapon. Canada is the sixth country with which the Philippines has elevated ties to strategic partnership. The others are Australia, India, Japan, South Korea, and Vietnam po. Now, during the visit of President Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos Jr. dyan po sa Vancouver, no? Yesterday, after the meeting, he and Prime Minister Mark Carney, no? Since they did not have lunch, no? They went to one of the outlets, Philippine outlets po, ang Jollibee. And doon po, they ate ang lunch or lunch meal nila po, no? While there po, maganda din ang ano nila, si Prime Minister Carney was also happy, no? Sabi niya, masarap din po ang chicken, Jollibee chicken natin, Jollibee chicken. Sabi ni BBM, sabi niya, wala palang diferensya. Jollibee chicken sa Philippines and Jollibee chicken sa Canada po, parehas na po ang flavor. Aba, siyempre, di ba? Aba, siyempre po, because the ingredients used and the way they cook ang food sa Jollibee po, no? Sa Canada po, galing din po sa Pilipinas. Kaya walang diferensya yun po, no? Walang diferensya. But anyway, let me share with you po. Kunting nakakahiya ito po, a video clip, but nagiging viral ito sa social media po. While nandoon si Prime Minister Mark Carney and BBM sa Jollibee po, no? May mga protesta po, mga Filipinos who protested kay BBM, no? Kay BBM. Let me share with you itong video clip po. ako din po, I'm not happy. Nakita ko itong video clip, but what to do po, nagiging viral ito. And freedom of speech, yun nga, sabi natin, freedom of speech po, no? And nandito na po, I'll share with you itong brief video clip po of BBM nasa Canada, and people, I think a group of 200 protesters, Filipinos po, they carried out ang protest while nandoon po si President Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos Jr. Let's watch and listen to this po. Hold on po. Okay. Nagiging viral ito, no? Nagiging viral ito. Nag-viral ito.
Ang mga kasama lumabas na sa Pangulong Ferdinand Marcos Jr. ng Jollibee Store. Kasabay nito ay nagsilabasan yung mga nakikilos protesta dito sa Vancouver, Canada. Kasabay rin ang kilos protesta nila at ibig ni Pangulong Marcos malakas ang ulan dito sa Vancouver. Ang gigigit na mga nakikilos protesta, hindi raw welcome si Pangulong Marcos dito sa Vancouver, Canada. At pinapanawagan nila na mabigyan ng hustisya yung nangyayaring korupsyon sa Pilipinas. Hanggang dito sa paglalakad ni Pangulong Marcos, sinusundan siya ng mga nakikilos protesta. So, ayan, hinarangan na ng mga police authorities ng Canada yung mga nagigilos protesta dito. At yan muna ang
Alright, yun po, nagiging viral itong posting po sa social media about si BBM, no? Dyan sa Jollibee outlet sa Vancouver, and nandun mga Filipino protesters po, no? They shouted, shame on you, and all this ugly, no? Mga shoutouts nila sa presidente natin, si BBM, who was also with him ang mga official ng Canada, no? That includes also ang Prime Minister po, ang Prime Minister. So, ibig sabihin, there's only one thing po, hindi lang sa Pilipinas, mga Filipinos galit sa kanya po, but also mga Filipinos sa iba-ibang parte ng mundo, kagaya sa Canada. Kagaya sa Canada. Alright, yan po ang updates or na I managed to gather, and this time around, let's go to another topic po regarding itong plunder cases slap kay Senator Rodante Marcoleta, and also si former secretary and a former congressman si Mike Defensor on the issue of campaign donation po, no? Received by Marcoleta from Defensor and two other friends nila po, no? Friends nila. So let's watch and listen to this report regarding the issue, and may mga statement made by former congressman and former secretary Mike Defensor. Mike Defensor po. Let's watch and listen to this po. Saan na yun? 204? Nandito. Let's watch and listen to this.
Hindi na
Itong
mabahala si dating Congress.
report po, no? Hold
Hindi
on,
na
hold on.
mabahala si dating Congressman at DN.
Okay, nandito po. Let's watch and listen to this. Alright.
Hindi na mabahala si dating Congressman at DNR Secretary Mike Defensor sa kasong plunder at paglabag sa Presidential Decree No. 46 na inihain ng Office of the Ombudsman laban sa kanya sa Sandigan Bayan.
Persecution. Persecution to
gusto nilang paggigipit, gusto nilang tumahimik. Lahat ng mga tumitira doon sa nangyayari ngayon na sinasabi wala pa rin nakikitang ustisya na yung ninakaw na pondo ng bansa ayaw niyong imbestigahan. Martial law. Martial law. Walang deklarasyon ng martial law, pero lahat ng mga kalaban, lahat ng mga nagsasalita, ginigipit.
Kabilang sa defensor sa mga kinasuhan, kaugnay ng pagtanggap umano ni Senador Rodante Marcoleta noong 2025 ng 75 million pesos na campaign donation. 30 million pesos ang galing umano kay defensor. Katwiran ni defensor, walang batayan ang kaso laban sa kanya dahil ang kanyang donasyon ay pribadong pera, may deed of donation at may binayarang donor's tax. Hindi anya ito nagmula sa pondo ng gobyerno o nakaw na yaman. Giit pa ni defensor, nais daw siyang patahimikin dahil sa kanyang pagsasalita at panawagan para sa investigasyon sa mga paratang ng korupsyon. May kumausap pa raw sa kanya para tumahimik, pero hindi niya sinabi kung sino ito.
2-3 beses yan na may mga kaibigan, alam mo naman marami akong kaibigan din sa nakaupo sa administrasyon na tumahimik ka lang, wala na itong mga kaso.
Tanong pa ni defensor, bakit hindi raw kinakasuhan ang mga nag-donate din kay Pangulong Bongbong Marcos na ang iba ay nagkaroon daw ng pwesto sa gobyerno.
Kay Presidente Bongbong Marcos. Kasi sa kanya, 247 ang nag-donate dyan. Kung kami ay kakasuhan, dapat unang kasuhan si Bongbong Marcos. Kasi yung sa kanya malinaw. Pagbigay ng pera, may kapalit na posisyon. Kami wala.
Sabi ni defensor, haharapin niya ang kaso.
I will face this. And I am not afraid. I am not afraid because I know what I'm doing is right. Politically and morally correct.
Sinusubukan namin una na pahayag ang Malacanang at ang ombudsman kaugnay ng pahayag ni defensor. Maris Umali, nakatutok, 24 oras.
Alright, yun po, narinig natin. Sabi ni former Congressman Mike Defensor is willing to face ang charges sa kanya sa korte po. Same thing po, sabi ni Senator Rodante Marcoleta, that is more than willing, ready and more than willing to face ang charges sa korte po. And to the extent that he even said kung may warrant of arrest o arrest warrant sa kanya po, then he will peacefully surrender po and face ang charges po. No? But wala pa tayong reaction na coming from Marcoleta, and I will continue to monitor po. Kung sakaling mayroon tayo, then I will make sure po that kayo, mga followers ko po dito sa Nick Talk, The Real Talk with Nico, you will be properly informed po. And according to CILG Secretary, si John Vic Remulla, na they are also ready. They are also ready po in the event ang korte po will issue warrant of arrest kay Marcoleta and defensor. They are ready to execute ang warrant of arrest or arrest warrant sa mga akusado po, no? Sa mga akusado. So we don't know. Maybe it will happen today, no? Saturday ngayon, may pasok ba? Or maybe it will happen sa Monday. And sabi naman ang police authorities, they will coordinate properly in the event na mag-release sa Monday or may nasa session si Senator Rodante Marcoleta po sa Senado. They will coordinate with the Senate President, si Sherwin Gatchalian po, on the arrest or execution of the arrest warrant of Rodante Marcoleta po. Everything will be in order po, legal po ang execution of the arrest warrant of Rodante Marcoleta in the event mag-release po, mag-release. But everybody, karamihan ng mga tao po, they are expecting, if not today, maybe on Monday or maybe on Tuesday po, no? On Tuesday, ma-release na po ang arrest warrant o warrant of arrest kay Rodante Marcoleta. But all speculation pa lang ito, no? All speculations. Alright? Let's move on. I have a video clip here po, no, because earlier we are talking about President Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos did a lot of foreign trips po. One of the reasons is strengthen bilateral ties, and of course encourage and invite foreign investors to come to the Philippines, and of course even borrowing money para sa Pilipinas po. Now let me share with you a video clip coming from I used to to feature ito si Attorney Regal Oliva when it comes to issues po. Kasi magandang mga issues na po. Especially, may laman talaga po. May laman talaga. Hindi lang chismis po, but may laman talaga. So let me share with you itong video clip. Although this is a replay lang po, no? But it will remind us po, no? Kung paano ang economic situation ng Pilipinas ngayon po. Let's watch and listen to this. Alan.
Nakakahiya. The international community has already taken actions against corruption in the Philippines. South Korea, through President Lee Jae-myung, publicly announced the suspension of a 700 billion won loan, around 28.8 billion pesos, citing risks of mismanagement and corruption. The Department of Finance immediately retorts, no such loan exists. And perhaps that is technically true. No binding loan agreement was executed. No disbursement occurred. No contractual right had vested in favor of the Philippines. Under international finance law, an ODA facility like the Economic Development Cooperation Fund only ripens into enforceable obligations once the loan agreements are signed and conditions precedent are met. Kaya nga legally, wala tayong ikakaso dito. But let us not miss the bigger picture. The fact that the president of South Korea felt compelled to announce publicly that their taxpayers' money must be shielded from corruption in the Philippines is already damning. Even if the Department of Finance is right that no such loan exists, what does exist is a perception, a presumption, almost a verdict that projects in our country cannot be trusted to be free of collusion and waste. This is not merely about one modular bridge program of 350 bridges under President Marcos Jr. or the Department of Agriculture's 27.7 billion plan for 300 bridges between 2026 to 2029. It is about credibility. Kung dati ang tanong ng international partners ay, how much are you borrowing? Ngayon, ang tanong na ay, can you be trusted? Legally, South Korea was within its right. A sovereign leader is never obligated to proceed with an ODA package absent perfected agreements. Under the United Nations Convention Against Corruption, donor countries in fact have a duty to ensure their resources are not laundered through corrupt systems. Thus, whether the loan was real, imminent, or only prospective, the chilling effect is the same. Our reputation as a borrower is collapsing. Nakakahiya because while our government insists that no loan exists, the deeper truth is harder to deny. Our friends and allies no longer trust us enough to even consider extending financial lifelines without suspecting corruption at the very core.
Alright, yun po, narinig natin, nakakahiya, no? It's facts. Whether we like it or not, we will accept it or not, it is facts na po, no? Dahil sa corruption sa Pilipinas. And that's what you heard from Attorney Regal Oliva po. Oliva. Alright? So, okay, because of corruption po, no? And we already touched about corruption and impeachment of Inday Sara Duterte, the Vice President of the Philippines po. So, mga tao, mga Filipino, hindi naman siguro lahat, but karamihan ng mga Filipinos po is angry because of these flood control projects po. And marami na mga pangalan mentioned dyan po sa flood control project, but hanggang ngayon po, hindi pa sila nakakulong, no? They are not behind bars. And ito ang mga Filipinos are shouting, those who are responsible, who participated directly or indirectly sa flood control projects scandal po, we want that these people will be put behind bars. And of course, the money stolen from us, no, should be returned to the treasury po, no? Kasi pera ng taong bayan yun po, pera ng taxpayers. It is taxpayers' money. So let me share with you another video clip po, no? Another video clip, and this time around, it is coming from the founder of the PGMN. Ang founder si Mr. Franco Mabanta ba yan? No? Let's watch and listen to this, especially kasi lumabas na mga pangalan ni Saldico, ni former Speaker Martin Romualdez po tungkol sa flood control project, their participation, no? Their participation not only in the flood control project but also in the National Budget 2025. So, nandito po. Let me share with you itong video clip ni Mr. Franco po ng PGMN, no? Ng PGMN. Hold on, nandito na po. And let's watch and listen to this. All right?
And it was one of the DDS. I don't think I need to get you guys to hate Martin more than you already do. But let me just remind you of something very pivotal here. You won in 2022 with 30 million votes, the most of all time. With that kind of political capital, with that kind of mandate, with BBM and Sarah winning with record numbers back in 2022, the amount of change and improvement and development and growth that this country could have seen with that much political capital would have been breathtaking. It would have been unprecedented. It was unprecedented. Do you remember who caused that divorce between BBM and Sarah? Because it wasn't them. They were good. They were so fond of each other in the beginning. It was Martin. Martin has an undeniable track record of betraying people so that they turn on each other. I'll give you facts, okay? First, former President Gloria Arroyo, his mentor, the person who trained him in Congress. When she was supposed to be House Speaker, Martin threw her under the bus, made sure BBM and her had a huge falling out, just to ascertain that he would become Speaker of the House. He betrayed his mentor, that's Gloria Arroyo. Number two, he betrayed BBM's sister, Amy, because he wanted to make sure that Amy stopped giving advice that would be detrimental to Martin to BBM. So what did he do? He made sure to get in the way, talk shit about Amy, BBM listened, and then there was the wildest falling out between the two siblings. Insane. That was Martin too. Number three, he betrayed Sarah. He was Sarah's campaign manager, right? Or so he said. What happened afterwards? Martin wanted to become president in 2028. His mentor, Gloria Arroyo, always said that the presidency is destiny. And Martin looked at her and said, no, the presidency is man-made. Because he has this preposterous, delusional, ridiculous, like disgusting levels of ambition. He wanted to be all-powerful. He wanted to be president in 2028. And he knew in order for that to happen, he needed to get Sarah out of the way. So what did he do? He intentionally made sure that Sarah and BBM were separated and eventually divorced. And it was one of the ugliest, nastiest president-vice presidential wars we've seen, probably the worst one ever. That was Martin too. And then after that, what did he do? He betrayed his cousin, betrayed the president, betrayed GMA, betrayed Amy, betrayed Sarah, and then betrayed BBM. Imagine that, betraying the hand that feeds you. Martin has so many billions of, not pesos, dollars now. And then right after, what does he do? The moment it became inconvenient for him to maintain his alliance with BBM because nahuli na siya for all the corruption, he then betrays BBM. That's the kind of person Martin Romualdez is. That's the kind of human being he is. He's a piece of shit. He's terribly disloyal. You know, I wish I could tell you that it was Martin's idea to send PRRD to the Hague. I wish I could tell you, but I don't know. I don't know for sure, and I want to maintain full honesty in this piece. But what I can say with absolute certainty is that because of that succession of betrayals that he inflicted against former President Arroyo, current Senator Amy, current Vice President Sarah, and current President BBM, we are in this apocalyptic, thoroughly disheartening, close to hopeless situation. That was him. Yeah, so fuck that guy.
Alright. Alright, yun po, narinig natin ang founder ng PGMN, si Mr. Franco Mabanta. No? He's very vocal about former Speaker Martin Romualdez po. Alright, so yun po, that is the situation now in the Philippines. No? And galit na galit, again, galit na galit ang mga tao tungkol sa korupsyon sa Pilipinas. So yun po ang mga latest updates natin tungkol sa Pilipinas. But before I'm going to conclude itong programa natin on a Saturday, July 4, Independence Day ng Amerika, I want to raise some issues po sa mga followers natin, and I hope it will serve as an advice, eye-opener sa mga followers natin, sa mga Filipinos po, no? Not only mga Filipinos, but other nationalities po. Now, for your information, I received, no? I'm not happy with itong news po, no? Really, I'm not happy with this news. I received a news and I am investigating itong news ngayon po, no? In fact, I already contacted the victims, no? The victims po. It's another child abuse. Child abuse ito po, no? Now, mayroon pala nangyari dyan po sa Bonggao, Tawi-Tawi the other day, no? I was made to understand that may isang o dalawang bata dyan po sa Bonggao, no? Estudyante ito po, no? One is first year high school ngayon, and the other one is still grade school po, mga bata ito. Now, they were sexually harassed by their own lolo, grandfather po. Sabi natin, kapatid ng lola nila, kapatid ng lola nila po. Now, it happened in 2024, pero takot ang mga bata to report. But just recently, fortunately, ang kapatid din ng dalawang babae, itong bata po, found out what is happening sa kapatid niya yon dalawang babae. No? Molested po, it was not rape, but it was a sexual harassment. No? I managed to talk to the victims, and they confirmed to me po that they were, nagiging biktima sila sa sexual harassment, wherein itong lolo nila, touched their private parts and gave some money and asking to do very, I don't know what is the right word po, no? Pero pangit na pangit ito po, sa mga bata. So, he took advantage of the innocent, young children, the students po, He is already, almost 60 years old, and nag-stroke daw ito po, no? Itong tao na ito po. And when the incident was reported to the lola o kapatid ng suspect, nagalit pa sa kanila po, sa mga bata po, no? And they claim that they are telling lies. Remember, ang mga bata po, they will not tell lies, especially in this kind of situation po. I spoke to them yesterday, sa mga bata po, no? And they confirmed to me po, I will not mention the names of the victims, neither will I mention the name of the suspect in the meantime po, no? Because I'm trying to get more details po. I advise ang parents ng victima po, no? To lodge a police report, and yes, we have this child abuse X dyan po sa Pilipinas, and definitely they will be protected po, no? Itong mga victima po. And of course, the suspect will be, I hope he will be arrested. But I was made to understand, itong suspect ngayon po is nowhere to be found. And the latest, I heard that may mga rumors na he wants to come to Sabah to escape from this case po. And I asked for the picture of this suspect, the real name of the suspect po. Ako mismo po, I will make sure po, I will inform the police authorities dito po sa Sabah, be it any part of Sabah po, to inform them that there is a possibility that this suspect will come to Sabah. Definitely, it is through illegal means, through backdoor po, kasi malapit lang ang Tawi-Tawi sa Sabah po. He could go to Lahadatu, Sempuna, Tawau, or where else po. But we are going to inform ang police authorities on this thing po. So, pangit talaga itong insidente po, no? And the police authorities or the local authorities dyan po sa Bongao, they are now, in fact, yesterday I was made to understand that the victims were brought to the barangay or village chief po to give their details po about the incident. And hopefully I will follow up again today kung ano ang latest updates dyan po sa kaso na ito po, no? So I also urge ang local authorities sa Bongao po, ang mayor po, kung sino ba doon, saka mga police po, no, to look into this case po kasi mahirap na po itong klaseng insidente. We have to protect ang mga biktima po. Remember ang trauma, these young children, students po, will suffer, no? They need counseling and a lot of things po. And we are calling for justice. Ako mismo po, I'm calling for justice, no? Dapat may hustisya be given to these victims po. And today, yun, sabihin natin, ang suspect and whoever, no? Because I was made to understand, ang lola, ang kapatid ng suspect po is also hiding, no? Hiding or nagalit pa siya po sa mga bata. Instead of protecting ang mga bata po, nagalit pa siya po sa mga bata po, and she's claiming that they are lying, inventing stories po. So kung sino-sino man yung mga involved po, I hope the local authorities, no? Especially the mayor, no? I am now coming out dito po sa programa natin po, no? All for the sake of the victims and maybe the baka if this suspect will be, sabihin natin maligtas siya dito po sa kaso, sa insidente po, baka mayroon pa sabihin natin, baka mag-victimize pa siya sa mga iba-ibang bata dyan po sa Bongao. So I'm calling the authorities concerned po to look into the case ngayon po and make sure that the suspect will be arrested po, no? And to the parents, no? To the parents, huwag kayo magkalimutan, no? Don't be ashamed. Parents will always protect the interest and welfare of their children. Unless you don't love your children. Unless you don't love your children, then dahil po nakakahiya, it's normal po. Some people will say, we just keep quiet, we just remove ang mga bata and close the case kasi we don't want that itong insidente magbulgar po sa community. Sa community po. Nakakahiya daw yun, insidente po. That is wrong. That is exactly wrong what you are thinking. No? Bahala na po. Since you love your children, protect the children po. And make sure may bigyan ng hustisya sa mga biktima po. No? Relatives ninyo mayon or hindi, kailangan po ang culprit, ang suspect po, must be punished. Kawawa talaga itong mga bata po. Kung gano'n na lang tayo palagi, we will think that nakakahiya if we are going to expose this thing sa publiko po, then wala mangyari po. Mayroon pa, darating pa din po mga iba-ibang mga biktima. As early as now po, I'm calling all the parents, especially the parents of these two young students, mga biktima po. Open your eyes. Open your eyes and make sure that may hustisya given to your children, ang mga victims. Dalawang bata ito po. Innocenteng bata ito po. And I will continue to follow up itong case. And I will make sure, I will do my level best po to make sure na ang suspect will be brought to court. will be punished. Will be punished po. So, yun lang po ang reminder ko sa mga parents. We need to give justice to the victims. So with this, siguro hanggang dito na lang po ang programa natin. Si Nick Talk would like to say thank you very much for making me a part of your day today. Ingat tayo lahat and happy birthday to America. So with this, Hidup Malaysia, Sababole, mabuhay ang Pilipinas, God bless the world. I'll see you in my next episode. Bye and ingat kayo. I love you all.